Hi guys, in this video we're going to be learning how to use column sums, also often referred to as chimney sums, for multiplication. Now, it's a very good idea to make sure you have a good grounding already in how to use column sums for addition and subtraction, but if you feel pretty confident with that, then multiplication is the next logical step. Now, as with all column sums, it is essential that we have a good understanding of place value, and we must line up our columns properly. So here we have the number 34, which is 3 tens and 4 units, and we're going to multiply it by 2. We'll put our sign in there, and here's our equal sign.
Now, before we actually get started with this, let's think about what this sum is actually asking us. What is multiplication? Well, in this case, we have 34, and we're being asked to multiply it by 2. In other words, we're adding another group of 34 to it. So we're effectively doing 34 plus 34 in this case. Now, it's helpful to visualize this because once you're done with the calculation, it helps you get an idea of whether your answer is in the right ballpark or not.
Now, as with everything when it comes to column sums, it's really important that we start with the column furthest to the right. And what we're basically going to be doing is we're going to be timesing both of these numbers by 2, the bottom number, one after the other, but starting with the 4 here. So we're going to do 2 times 4 to start with. 2 times 4 is obviously 8. Once we've done that, we're then going to multiply the 2 here by the 3 here. So we move on to the tens column. 2 times 3 is 6, and so we get our answer. In this case, 68.
So now that we're done, let's do a quick sense check of this calculation. I was multiplying 34 by 2, and so I could ask myself, if I just doubled 30, what would I be expecting? I'd be expecting around 60. And in this case, I've doubled 30 and I've doubled 4. Well, in that case, it's going to be 68. Therefore, my answer is correct.
Next example then. Here we've got 28 times 3. So as before, we've got our tens and our units. We'll put 28 there, and we're multiplying it by 3. Equal sign underneath.
So once again, before getting started, it really helps to try and visualize what this is actually asking us. 28 times 3, well, we don't want to just do the pure process of doing the column sum here. We want to try and picture what we're being asked. So we're being asked 3 groups of 28. So we're going to have to do 3 groups of 8 and 3 groups of 20 and then put those answers together. That's what the column sum is doing there.
Now, as with the last one, we're going to start with the units. And the first thing we're going to do is 3 times 8. Now, if you don't know your times tables, you could always use a times table square, or you could write down the stations. You could go 3, 6, 9, 12, so on and so forth. All the way up to 8 different stations. But in this case, we just know that 3 times 4 is 24. Now we encounter the same problem that we had when we were doing addition. Remember that the biggest number that we're allowed to put in any column is 9. And 24 is a whole lot bigger than 9. 24 is 2 tens and 4 units. Here's our tens, here's our units. So we definitely can't fit that in one column. It would be improper for us to just try slapping 24 in there. So what we do is we treat this exactly like adding. The 4 is a unit or a 1. It can stay in that column. The 2 is really 2 tens, and so it's able to move up to the next column, and we're going to pop it on the shelf as we sometimes refer to it. But it's just being exchanged. So this is where we come across this part of the learning intention here, which is that we are exchanging when we need to. This is also often referred to as carrying. So what we've done is we have exchanged, or we've carried 2 tens there. Now, we did 3 times 8, so now we do 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6, but we've still got this 2 to worry about. Now, we don't factor into the multiplication. What we do is we add it on at the end. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And we get our answer, 84.
Now that we're done, as always, we should be doing a sense check, asking ourselves, does our answer look in the right ballpark? In this case, 28, I'd be saying to myself, well, that's very close to 30. And I can multiply 30 by 3 quite easily. 3 times 3 is 9, so 30 times 3 is 90. Therefore, I'm expecting an answer that is close-ish to 90. And the answer that I eventually get, of course, in this case, is 84. So it's in the right ballpark, at least.
Let's look at a bigger example this time. So in this case, we've got hundreds, tens, and units. So we'll write that out. Here's our hundreds, here's our tens, here's our units. And we have 897 multiplied by 4.
Once again, before getting started, always try and ask yourself what you're actually doing. You're multiplying something that is almost 900 by 4. Now you could even do a mental calculation beforehand. We always do a sense check afterwards, but beforehand you could estimate your answer roughly. So I know that 897 is nearly 900. If I did 900 times 4, well 9 times 4 is 36. So 900 times 4 should be around 3,600. Let's see how close we get to that by the end of this calculation.
Starting off then, we're going to go 4 times 7. After that, we're going to go 4 times 9. After that, we're going to go 4 times 8. So it goes 1, then 2, then 3. Always working from right to left. 4 times 7 first of all then. 4 times 7, I know my 4 times table fairly well, so I just know that it's 28. 28 is 2 tens and 8 units. So the 8 can stay, and the 2 tens are going to go on the shelf there. You can see that it's still 28. If I look at that number there, it's 28. It's just written in a wonky way, if you like. But what we've done is we have exchanged the 2 tens up to the next column. Next up, we have 4 times 9. Now 4 times 9 is 36, but we have to add on that 2. So we're not going to have 36 anymore, we're now going to have 38. So our 8 can stay here, and the 30 is actually 30 tens at the moment, so it moves up into the hundreds column. For 30 tens, we get 3 hundreds. Last of all then, we're going to multiply 4 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32, but we must remember to add on the number that we've exchanged, or the number that we've carried. So 32 plus the 3 there is 35. Now I could put the 5, put the 3 there, and then do 4 times 0, which is 0, and then add the 3. However, we all know that if there's just nothing left in these columns here, when we're at the end of the sum, we can just write it in there. And so indeed we did need a thousands column for this sum here. And so we have our answer. In this case, it is 3,588.
And at the start, we made an estimate for this one, and we estimated that it's pretty close to 4 times 900, which was 3,600. And as we can see, checking that our answer makes sense, we have 3,588. So we know that our answer is pretty close to our estimate, and therefore it's at least in the right ballpark.
So that's it, guys. When it comes to multiplication, it's remarkably similar to addition in the way that we exchange or carry our numbers. They just get put on the shelf of the next column over, and then they get added on to whatever you're multiplying at the end. So, now that you've developed an understanding of that, here are some examples for you to work through in your own time. So again, for all of these, I've deliberately chosen times tables that are a little bit lower. We've got 3s, 5s, 4s, and 3s again. So hopefully fairly easy times tables. If you're unsure with any of these times tables, see if you can grab a times table square, or you could just write down the times tables to help you. But work through each of these sums in turn, pause the video just now, and when you're ready, you can unpause, and I will reveal the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there you have it. Hopefully you got them right. If not, have a close look at it, try writing it out again, and see if you can figure out where you went wrong to improve your learning. But there you go, guys. Hopefully now you have learned how to use column sums for multiplication and are learning to exchange when needed. Cheers, guys.